ladies and gentlemen, are you awake? I don't know. This video is not necessarily going to be about anything interesting. I'm just checking to see who is awake. Oh, hey. And we got people who are awake and around. Someone says, you are late. Well, if I was a female, then I would be overjoyed because that would mean the possibility of me being pregnant were high. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby. That is so exciting. Is it gonna be a girl? Is it gonna be a boy? I've always wanted a baby, but I had to solve and save the world first. So now it's gonna be interesting. What is up? Man, I slept all day because the energy is so bad during the day nowadays, and will probably be so leading up to the eclipse. And so I did like 2 quick videos, and then I hopped on because I needed some type of human contact, even though it's online. Hey, Tim. If it glows in the dark, it must be the child of a spy. I don't know. Technically, anyone with a device now is a passive spy, I guess, with your cell phones and stuff. So I just thought, I would come on and be very conversational. I'm out of beer, so there will be no beer drinking. But there is a high probability that I will be vaping. And I got to say, it's funny. The other day, though, the person who sent me the email, their heart is in the right place. But they said, hey, man, I told you to give up drinking. I told you to give up smoking. I told you to give up talking about boobs. I told you to give up potatoes and carbohydrates. And you did not listen. That made me laugh. And I'm sure somewhere down the road, after the plague is over, me and that guy will sit down, have beer, and talk about all our differences in really funny ways. Although at one point in time I said, do you think Trump is a better man than me? And he said, yes, I do. And then I laughed for a long time. No disrespect, but I'm a really good man. And I only call people names when I'm really pissed, and it's usually when they're preventing me from making videos. So I'm just saying, it's a weird time, and everybody's in a weird state of mind and losing their minds, and I don't want to get into too serious subjects. Hey, what is up, Joanne, in the UK? And so, but I will start out saying that, have you seen because look, I don't wish harm on anyone. Honestly, at this point, I do not think Trump deserves a second term. You can disagree with that if you want. That's all right. Everybody gets to vote, not vote. But I don't want any harm to come to him. He's our president, and I'm your planetary defense commander. And so the video that really struck me, there was the one of him going to drink water, and then he had to use his second arm to help him drink the water, which creeped me out. And then it was him going down the ramp. And so I had talked about the Nostradamus passage that said monarchs will be in trouble in June, and the lovely, wonderful, smart, super, and married Astrological has basically let people know that, like, the lunar eclipses affect the people, and the solar eclipses affect mainly the super wealthy, the power people. And so, our last eclipse, the solar one that we had, we've had nothing but riots since and protests. And so now this one is going to hit, I think, the money people harder. And it's just a weird position because I've been giving out really great advice. And let me say that, like, if I ever got really great intel in person from multiple sources, that, I'm not going to reveal the sources, but I don't know. I've been just saying people should take the damn plague seriously. And so, the last time I checked, the markets were down like almost 3%. And I think Leo King, a Christian astrologer who I like, Leo King and Astrological, I can't say thanks to them enough, and Dave Chappelle over the last 2-3 years, they have been 3 people that I've been able to look to, and they give me good information, although they give it to everybody openly like I do. And And so, yeah, dude, like even the astrology, all the signs are pointing to we're probably going to have some type of a markets crash. Even worse, maybe worse than 2008. And so they're like, it seems like anybody that's been telling you otherwise has been like on the side of trying to make money. That like BP oil today had a $17.5 billion write-off in a single quarter. If you add that up, that's almost if that happened 3 more quarters, that would be an $80 billion loss. Like, petroleum industry has been getting ravaged. Like, tons of industries have been getting totally ravaged. Although the tech guys have been raking it in. And so if you were going to have some wild conspiracy of that, like someone created the virus and then released it to the public, then you got to look who made money during that time, during the last 3 months, who's made the most money. And the list is pretty clear. It's like Bezos and Larry Page from Google and Zuckerberg and even Bloomberg. All the tech guys have just made, like, they've made like 800 billion on the books in the last 3 months. But they're like, it's Fauci's fault. Well, so, I know a lot of people say it's Gates' fault too. But I don't know. It's just a really strange time. And like I have said, that like we're going into a war period. And so I've been here for decades trying to get people to work together as one Earth team. And the process has felt like me telling the truth over the last X amount of years. It's been like I'm walking down a giant shotgun barrel really slowly, wondering if at any time it could go off and I get killed. And so I'm still here. And so we've made it to the middle of June 2020, and I'm still here. And I thank God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, all my family, all my friends, Astro Fight Club. Like, it's amazing that I'm still alive. And technically, it's amazing you're still alive. And so it would be really great if we could take the future and do something good with it. All right, I said I wasn't going to talk about serious crap, but that's why I celebrate every day. Me too. And I mentioned the other night when I watched Dave Chappelle's new amazing 27-minute special where he talks about the history of racism and why black people feel the way they do today. For people who may not understand, he chain smoked through the whole thing. And I'm having tiny money problems just because, like the super chat money stuff doesn't show up until like the 21st of the month, 6 weeks later. And I've been chain smoking. And I know that'll piss people off, but I'm like, as Planetary Defense Commander, for the same reason that, like, if you were tapped in to trying to keep it together, it's been stressful. And I think it's been stressful for everyone. On some level, way, shape, or form, that 2020 has not exactly been the funnest, best year of all time. Oh, Rose. What has me? That's what okay. For the next 7 days, I've emotionally kind of detached. And so I think it's best to be helpful. Like, we've got 117,000 dead Americans in 3 months. And I'm sick of so many people yelling in my face, it's a hoax, you don't know nothing. Even though I've been able to predict pretty much every single step of the way, including economic and plague and lockdowns. And I'm saying we're looking at another major crash and a second phase of lockdowns. And so I don't, it's not always fun telling people truths they don't want to hear. And to me, it still blows my mind that I have to tell people that the plague is fucking real. And if everyone would have just worn a mask in March, we could probably have sports games again, man. Not that I care. I gave up sports when I started Thor News. Because, like, anything that makes over $1 billion is probably rigged, bro. Keep your food stores up. Here's my deal with guns. I'm a Texan, and that no matter what, you'll never be able to take people's guns away. But I have a lot of friends who own arsenals. Like, I have a very eclectic group of friends. None of us are perfect. A lot of them are conservatives. And so even some of my, but most of us are Texans. So everybody but me has guns. And so, but I am doing what I can to avoid a civilization collapse. That has always been my job. That you need to watch Joseph McCarthy's The Road. It's a movie, or read the book, that any type of economic collapse would be bad for everyone. And it's like, you know, I know as a Christian that suicide is bad, and I never recommend suicide for anybody or myself. But that, like, literally, if everything just got to like cannibal stage and roving bands raping, and I would probably take my own life. Me, like, I'm friends with QAnon. We have very diverse views. And one time I said, "Hey Q," and there's a bunch of them. So I said, if the economy collapses, will you blow my brains out if I ask you to? And he was like, "No." And so I'm just saying that, like, if everything totally collapsed, I probably wouldn't want to be here. And it's a rough choice that everybody would have to make. And so that's why I've put all of my chips into us making it through this grand transition. Us figuring out that we have all the resources that we need. And so that once, and I see it as like a yin and a yang, that as a person, as a personal person, I feel very powerful. More powerful than I've ever been. Definitely way more powerful than since 2012, right? What was my point? I forgot my point. Anyway, I'm just saying, so like, I'm going to do what I can to get everyone to keep it together, because we have, like, if we could just get along and figure out how to share this abundance, and like I said, the problem is anyone under 100 million has been forced into some Thunderdome where everybody's against everybody all the time, and that still anyone over 100 million is still in their own weird Thunderdome. They're like, everybody likes to believe that like someone is totally in control of everything, and that everybody gets surprised sometimes, man. Bill Gates gets surprised by the universe. Mark Zuckerberg, like, nobody knows everything. Another point that I made, of all the people that tried to warn everybody about what was coming in 2020, the Leo King, David, literally said, we got a plague coming. I said, I don't know what it's going to be, but life as you know it is totally going to change. And the oil industry and the music mafia are going to get hit really fucking hard. And plague was on the list, but I was not like, it's definitely good. But I'm just saying that, so out of everybody out there, me and him feels like we're the only two people who didn't get caught flat-footed. Everybody else who likes to believe they can see the future, they know everything about what's happening now, none of them saw it coming. And most of them have really handled it super piss poorly. And I still believe Democrats and Republicans are working together, and always have been, at least since JFK died. And so they've spent the last 3 months convincing everybody that we are getting back to normal, while they were trying to get prepared in their own little groups for whatever the new normal would be. Also, Mercury goes retrograde in 2 days, so if my ability to express myself goes down a notch, try and forgive me. So we're going to be in a period for like a week where miscommunication is going to be at an all-time high. And then you got Neptune going retrograde. And I remember last year when Neptune went retrograde, that's when everything got really freaking crazy. But the good news is that Venus goes direct around the 25th of June. And so, I mean, I think things will at least slow down and may start to get better. But if you're just joining us, like I said, if you were, I try to be neutral. And the fact that Trump had to like use his second arm to drink water, or really looked feeble going down the ramp, like, no matter what, being the president of the United States takes a major toll on your health. I mean, just being planetary defense commander, I was in damn near perfect shape when I started. Now look at me. I may never get to kiss a pretty lady again. I don't know, but like I said, I have enjoyed my life, though 2020 is not exactly my favorite. Oh, thank you, Angel. Yeah, but no, but it's like a matter of like how bad will it get? And so we know there are going to be earthquakes. We know, like we were warned by, like the Bible warned there would be plagues. Revelation said plagues are coming. So now, while the plagues are here, you got people going, the plagues are a hoax. When the book of Revelation multiple times says plagues will show up. So the same people who are claiming to be super great Christians, now that a plague has showed up, are like, it's a hoax, bro. So it's very frustrating. It's like, to fight the plague, all we got to do is wear a damn mask. I don't know. It's probably a reason they had burqas for thousands of years, and it's definitely a reason that countries in Asia have adopted wearing masks long before us. No hope. Christ says not to worry about those things. Well, the same people that tell me not to worry about those things spend a lot of their time focused on politicians. And so I prefer to be focused. Do I look worried, bro? I have been concerned, and I have been talking about, as your planetary defense commander, I do not want to lose our president on my watch. And so, since February, I have expressed deep concern multiple times. And that people do listen to me. Whether or not they take my advice or not, that's a different story. But that's why I put out what I believe and how, like, whether you want to believe it, whether you want to laugh, I feel it's my job, partially compelled by Christ and God, to tell you the world as I see it and what I can do to make sure that we can make it through this. And so I've discussed many times, we all have different beliefs, man. Every Christian I know has different beliefs. And so I believe there is a living word and there is an ancient word. And so yes, the bigger plot points are already there, but free will is real, and who we are, and what we do matters here and now. I'm not a fucking autonomous robot. And so, like, I've been handing out, like, I've been talking, like, the guys on that team, both teams are super arrogant and don't really listen to anybody. But, I've told this story before, that back in, like, 2015, 2014, I made a video where I was concerned about they were going to assassinate Obama. So I made a big video that got, like, 80 dislikes or some shit, where I just said, please, military and Secret Service, protect our president. As planetary defense commander, I don't want to lose our president. And so, I don't know, near the end of his term, he sent someone from the Treasury, found me in a Hooters, and we talked for hours. Anyway, and he said the president thanks me. And then, like, a couple months later, the president came out with a space weather executive order. And so, that, like I said, as planetary defense commander, I don't want to lose a fucking president. Though I may not agree with Trump, I do not want him to die. And that these are, so if I'm concerned about anything right now, it's like, well, yes, the people aren't taking the plague seriously, and it's that, I don't know, man, if everybody's been wrong, and we have had over 100,000 Americans die from the virus, if not more, then he's in deep fucking shit, bro. And then, like I said, I think he's been used to always getting his way. He's been used to that. Like his confidence would always propel him forward and could keep propelling him forward. And that he would have won this election if it wasn't for the plague. But when the plague hit, him and every single person on his team had absolutely no clue how to adapt. They had no clue how to change. They had no clue how to like change messages. And he's there tweeting at individual governors and mayors talking about how they're doing a shitty job as we've had multiple cities on fire for 2 fucking weeks, man. So yeah, I don't know. And like I said, people always like when I warn people about the virus and just ask people to take it serious or warn you that we will be dealing with this for a year and 9 months more. I'm not doing it out of fear, and that by me being emotionally prepared for that, it helps me. Like I said, do I look scared? If anything, I'm sick of being in this damn foxhole and I'm going kind of stir crazy with cabin fever. But like I said, I almost died 3 times at the end of 2018 and in 2019. 3 miracles saved me. And since then, I've been kind of post fear of death. Because the day I thought I was having a major heart attack that lasted for like 30 minutes, I was like, I'm ready to go, God. I love you, Jesus. I'm ready for the pearly gates. Take me home to my dad and my stepdad and all the great horses and dogs and my grandpa and my nana and my papa and my grandpa. So, like I said, my fear is that I survive for 10 more years, but things just continue to get worse. So I am here because I feel I am your brother. Just like Jesus Christ was my God, my King, and he says, I'm your brother. And so I believe we're going to put the family back on the right track. It may take us 2 or 3 more years, but we will get there. And if I understand correctly, I've got a lot of people who appreciate my work who are in the Army, who are in the Air Force, who are in the Marines, who are in the Coast Guard, who are police. Like, that's a whole nother like can of worms that is so hard to even discuss. Because it's like abortion, nobody's gonna have any rational thought on it. But I looked it up. Was it like there are 20,000 different towns and cities in America, which means like 20,000 different police groups, and that it would just, and that yeah, it would be great to weed out all the racist, horrible assholes that are in our police. But at no point in time do I think that our police are bad overall. And that over the last 100 years, I would have to give our police at least a B+. But yeah, we've got problems we gotta solve. And we are somehow not in a problem-solving mind. And I feel shielded because even though I don't ever get cocky, people always tell me I'm protected. And so like I could die in a week and you could be like, hey, you were totally wrong. But I'm just saying that being a good guy has had advantages. This apartment is not exactly, I know Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project was making fun of me for living in my mom's basement, and that is not true. Everywhere my mom lives is like super nice, and this is just an efficiency. Although it's been very necessary. But I think, I'm protected. I could be wrong. And you guys, if I die this year, you can be like, you were totally wrong. That dude was not protected. But I'm saying that by doing an above average job as Planetary Defense Commander and looking out for everybody, from the richest to the rich, the poorest to the poor, and everybody in between. I got a lot of people, it seems, who want me on the planet because I make the planet a better place. And the funny people, the number of funny people has been going down for like 5 years. And so we should definitely be guarding everyone on the planet who's really funny, because laughter is medicine. And I really think that after 2020, everybody, because you have to look at, like, I was talking out, if you go back to my videos, I was talking about of all the mistakes that I thought Barack Obama made when he was president. That once he made everybody get health care, but didn't damp down the costs in any way, I was off the Obama train. I gave him time where I was like, I'll give you time and I'll believe in you. Just like I did Trump. And then at some point, he pissed me off. And that was when the Federal Reserve was pumping tons of money in. And so at that time, like, one of my best friends in the world, Jason Caught Solo, one of the greatest musicians, cool guy, is like the best mountain goat you would ever know. Like, he stopped talking to me because I was saying that Obama wasn't perfect. And we haven't talked since then. And so during that time, I had all the Democrat people who were like mad at me or calling me names all the time. And then when Trump got elected, it just switched. And I'm in the middle the whole time going, don't believe in politicians, man. That neither side has a good plan for us. These are like 300-year-old systems we're dealing with. Why is everything falling apart? Because our systems are 300 years old. They were designed for a thing that had slavery and had massacred all the Native Americans, North Americans, Central Americans, and South Americans. You know, like, if you look at it, when the English came over, there were like 30 million people in the Americas. And that when the English got done with the genocide, there was about 1 million Native Americans in America. So they killed all the people that were there, and then they brought over a bunch of slaves from Africa. That was some fucked up shit, bro. And the Christian in me has always been aware of that fact. And so that when everyone's all waving flags and talking, like, as great as our nation is, it still has one of the most horrid histories in humanity. So yeah, I mean, and it's so crazy because, like, in the mid-90s, up until before Kurt Cobain died, black people were totally getting along with white people and Hispanic people and gay people. And, like, there was this bubble from 88 to 95 that was super. And we were all like, everybody felt like world peace was just the next logical step. And then boom, Kurt Cobain died, and then Biggie died, and then Tupac died, and then OJ was on the freeway, and then boom, it was Bill Clinton's dress and impeachment, and then you had a 24-hour news cycle, and that was the point where the digital media took over the world and controlled the narratives with an iron fist. And you can see from 1997 to now, the monetary base of currencies has exploded by like 1,000%. And here we are still arguing over abortion and race relations and flags. It's like literally our society's been retrograde for 20 years. And so we either solve all these problems and take a step forward, or we sink. And they're the Christians who believe that we're all going to get punished and tortured, and some of them are going to get raptured to heaven. Hey, that's your right. They're the Christians like me who believe the book of Revelation says there will be at least 2 periods or where one man will help unite all the nations in a good way. The angel from the church of Thyatira in the beginning of the book of Revelation, it says it twice. There are good guys, man. There are good men of God, and there always have been. So yeah, I like the good guys' chances. Though, like, it's gonna get crazier, and more lives will be lost. It's a matter of how many. So I highly recommend, like, not giving into the anger. The next week is going to be anger central, where people are going to be lashing out. You know, it's like when people are yelling at me or upset with me, like, what did I do, dude? Like, yeah, yes, I'm sorry that I spent months last year telling you guys the Northeast and Florida would get hit by Category 3 to 5 hurricanes. That did not happen. I overstepped my bounds, got smarter than my britches, and I made a mistake. I'm sorry for that. So I guess if people are still mad about that, and I'm trying to, I've really I've swung on the other side of the pendulum. You don't hear me putting out a lot of hurricane warnings until I'm sure now. Although I am watching the 26th, 5 days after the total solar eclipse, and I think everybody should be because it'll take the models a couple days to adjust. But as of right now, all the models agree that there will be no hurricane formation for the rest of June. I think we could get one around the 26th, and models are hinting at some weird type of low that runs up the Mexico, then Texas, very west coast. But for now, it doesn't look like anything serious. But you all know that I've been telling you 5 days after the total solar eclipse, well, it's not total, it's annular, that, yeah, we should be ready for some type of a big storm. And we should definitely be ready for earthquakes and volcanoes. But it's always like, how do you, like getting ready for earthquakes is one, it's like picking where you live. That I haven't spent a lot of time living on a beach, but I have gotten to spend time at beaches. And beach people have a very, you know what, if there's a giant earthquake and a tsunami comes and kills me while I'm sitting at the beach, I'm cool with that. Like, Hawaiians seem virtually fearless against volcanoes or earthquakes, and they live on a volcano. And so, in many ways, I think everyone on the West Coast, especially Los Angeles and San Francisco, has that type of where they love California so much that if they die there, that was the choice they made. And that people may super hate on California, but I have spent 1 year in Hollywood and I spent a year in like 40 miles out of Silicon Valley. And California has a lot of super great things. It's one of the most beautiful lands I've ever seen. And it's so diverse in its geology, and it almost feels like a magic land, I don't know, like, if you've ever driven the Mulholland Hills in Los Angeles, those are so cool, man. It almost feels like you're in a different world. Like, have you ever been to see the redwood trees in So, but like, I'm in Texas, where like, I feel like I've said Houston is one of the best, safest places you can be. Although when I say that, I recognize we've pulled $30 trillion worth of petroleum out of the Permian Basin. And then they recracked it like 5 years ago. And so now they're pulling way more out. And so a major earthquake between here and the Great Lakes is always possible. And so, like, if a giant earthquake starts to happen, I'm sure I'll be like, oh, man, I'm ready to go, but I wanted to kiss a pretty lady again, What else? Although, I do think we're seeing an exodus from people, definitely in the Northeast. I've known a lot of people who quietly are moving out of New York. And if you are cool, you are smart, you are creative, and you're cool, lay back, Texas is a great place. Sure, you're going to have your areas of pocket assholes, where and everywhere, but overall, Texas people are pretty great. And like I said, I think we love Texas so much, we don't get into, we don't have to put our heart and soul and mind into a single politician. Because there's not a politician ever that has been cooler than Texas. But I definitely know we're going to be getting, if I had a lot of money and was investing, I would definitely invest in real estate in Texas. I would have bought a bunch of land around Denton. I would have bought a bunch of land by West Texas, where I think they're going to put the third airport. And, on the bands of Houston. Houston will continue to grow in size the whole time. Austin's overpriced, in my opinion. No offense. I lived in Austin from 1996, 97. I moved from Hollywood to Austin. And so I lived there from 97 to 2003, 2004. And when I was there, Austin peaked. That was the greatest Austin ever became. And then since then, $30 trillion has been injected and it's become the new Hollywood. It's still great, but I honestly think Houston is cooler. And I don't want to get into some pissing contest between the cities. But I believe Houston is the best city in Texas for sure. And last year, Forbes voted Houston the #1 coolest city in America. So yeah, Austin was the coolest city in America when I lived there, and Houston got voted the coolest city in America when I live in there. Is it me? Not totally, because Texas is a giant group, but I've had a little to do with it. Compared to other states, I've got a decent amount of pull here. And that was what was weird to see the whole mask thing. No matter what, we've only been dealing with this shit for 3 months. And so all the intel and information you could gain has been suspect either way. And so it's just best to be on the safe. It's like wearing a fucking condom, man. Remember, I don't have any kids. I ain't got any ex-wives. But it's a lot like wearing a condom where people are like, I just don't want to wear it. And then they don't want to take care of the baby when they get it. And so nothing has been more frustrating than the whole mask thing, where so I don't know what to do. And so in multiple ways, I feel that Texas government, not our Houston mayor, but Abbott buckled into pressure. Although overall, I think he's done a really good job. That I don't know. When he went to the White House and shook hands, was like, yeah, we're opening real fast. Although he tells everyone, wear a mask, thank you. Natasha. Those aftershocks. Where are you, Natasha? Are you in? So, when I lived in Hollywood, I only went through one real earthquake that I can remember. And at the time, Whittier. Oh. What up, Yellow? I've only been through one earthquake, but it was trippy because we were in, the apartment I lived in. I lived on the 11th story in the La Brea apartments right by the tar pits. And the whole, it's an interesting encounter. And that's why I thought it was funny when I was watching the Dave Chappelle special. He was talking about the very first earthquake he was ever in. Like, earthquakes are something else. Just like when everything around you just starts shaking, and it's like time and space begin to liquefy and get wavy. And I definitely believe that they have been, because you have to understand that once they GPSed everything, they got a better idea of everything. And they just haven't let us know a lot. And so I believe they've been releasing pressure out of the West Coast. So we haven't seen a lot of major earthquakes on the West Coast since 94, because A, they don't want people to die, and B, they've sunk so much money out there. So I definitely think they've been releasing pressure. But the plague has made that more difficult. So I think a lot of that has to do with the petroleum extraction. If you understand, like I do, that the Earth's core just naturally makes petroleum, man. And so that's how the planet grows. And that, so a lot of the petroleum extraction has been to kind of shape where the earthquakes would and wouldn't happen. That there are a lot of complicated theories about that. Dean! D-A-D. We'll go D-D. God bless you, sir. Thank you. That, like, someone had mentioned that to me, that they had to do the New Horizon big spill, or else we were going to have a major earthquake in the Gulf. And that, so they had to do that. And technically, you could say it worked. Although, we haven't had a major earthquake that killed people. Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's why it's been just crazy. But dude, yeah. So it helps me. I'm mentally preparing that, like, hopefully we should be over all this shit in 1 year and 9 months. And then it'll be like the Roaring 20s. We will then get to enjoy all the things that we took for granted before. I know most of the cool people I know really super miss live music. And you can put me at the top of that list as well. Going to see a good live band is one of my favorite things in the universe. Drinking beer, watching a good live band on a good night, dude, that's the best. And so, look at like the next year and 9 months as we're in graduate school or like post-grad school. Only it's like an Ender's Game combat school. We are all Space Force now. And that space is all over the place. And then so first we have to master the space around us. Oh my God, Hermione just put up a video. Man, Hermione's gorgeous. Like I said earlier, you can add Rosario is gorgeous too. And I'm sure Natasha's, okay, all women are beautiful. I don't want to get in trouble. But I wouldn't reiterate that joke that I told earlier at the beginning of when I started. That there was a guy whose heart is in the right place who sent me an email saying, Zeus! Flapper girls! That's what I'm talking about. You combine flapper girls with salsa music. That is the future I want. Big dances, big parties, big symphonies. Flapper Girls 2.0. And so, yeah, I think it's coming. It's just, it was why, like, my mom, I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy for sure. And so for the last 10, 20 years, she's been like, you need a life plan. You need a life plan. And definitely, I've said many times, in the last 5 years, I've been telling people, hey man, why do you have a 5-year plan? Why do you have a 10-year plan? The grand transition is here. Everything is going to change. So there's nothing more foolish to me than having a 10-year plan post 2015. Like, it has been such a crazy world that like it has been impossible to plan whatever the future is going to be. And so that like, I mean, I hope eventually I get to leave the foxhole. But definitely like now time and life as we know it is pretty liquid. We don't know what's going to happen next. And that's very exciting. And I love you guys. And I appreciate you guys. And I, like I said, even though being Planetary Defense Commander was a weird choice, going into 2020, what else should I have picked? Even if I had stayed a screenwriter. You know, like Hollywood is pretty much on hold. From a writer's standpoint, because I'm still a screenwriter, bro. It's weird to think about like writing a screenplay now because we don't know what the future's gonna look like, and so it's hard to write a movie now set in modern times because we don't know how this is gonna end. And so if you were gonna write a movie, I would recommend writing an old-timey Western or a sci-fi thing in the future, or you know, and you know. Even though corporations are staying extremely careful, businessmen have been doing everything they could over the last 3 months to just push everybody into like a herd immunity. Which is really going to bite us in the ass. And I think karma is about as full effect now as it's ever been. And so the assholes who have had their hearts in the wrong places, they're probably going to have a pretty tough 2 years. But I think the beautiful power of Jesus Christ is that at any time your heart is ready, and God, that you can become a good person. Like you can switch. You can be born again. And, you know, I know I'd take flag, but even like cool atheists, cool Muslims, like cool people, dude. That's what we need. You can settle your differences with God in the end. And that as my Lutheran Christianity, I'm not an event. Oh, okay. So the guy sent me the email saying, you have not made a video just about your Christianity. And I told you to give up smoking. I told you to give up drinking. I told you to give up carbs and potatoes. I told you to give up talking about boobs and women. And you didn't do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. Anyway, even as a Christian, I try to inspire people with my actions and what I do as opposed to just preaching, because like I said, the Christian community is one of the most it could be one of the most frustrating discussions out there. So, you know, like over the last 2-3 days, like some guy was telling me that like I'm not a Christian because I was using Nostradamus. And Nostradamus, if you read his letters, he thanks God and Jesus. And so Nostradamus was a Christian in my mind. And that the Bible says that there are multiple prophets and there will be prophets into the future. And so that like, I don't know, it's just, it seems like sometimes people will take Christianity and use it as like a comfortable blanket. And so they learn the base that they need to understand their life and belief system, and that's all they're ever going to know. And they're going to think that anyone who operates or believes differently than they do, even if they're Christians, just, is probably going to hell or sin or something. And so that, like, my form of Christianity has always been a search for the truth and the way, and then how to enact it in practice here on earth. Because like I said, I'm a Christian, but I've got like 10 or 20 more years on this planet. And so it's not just me praying to Jesus, me thanking Jesus. It's also, how do I go forward with that and then help create good things and help get everyone to the way? And yeah, I struggle with it. Anywho. But, like I said, I've gotten 16 million views in my 7 years, and that's with an asterisk. I definitely think it's way higher than that. And so, I've gotten a lot of comments where people call me names or say I'm a liar or say horrible things. And my armor's pretty tight. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you for adding me to your prayers, Yellow. I mean, I've pretty much done what I can most of my life with being a good guy, a superhero, a hero, and very funny. And that was the path I chose. And I'm okay with that. Although now I'm going to vape. And definitely, marijuana should be legal. I have no idea what's in this. Thank you, universe, for providing it. Yeah, as a Christian, like the idea that we have a for-profit prison system and marijuana is illegal at the same time, even though Genesis says, "I, God, give you all green seed-bearing plants." It's just part of the crazy mental state. I want to get funny here. What's it talking about? What am I looking for? Oh. And now we're going to burn sage. It smells good. All right, my fan's on. So how are you guys doing? Oh, I was looking for my glasses. Do you guys have any questions? What are the chances aliens are going to show up and let themselves be known in 2020? I don't know, 11%? It's definitely there, though. Oh, I had this weird thought when watching like the Leo King and Astrological. I was wondering, does that make Jordan Maxwell like the Professor X of the last 10 years? I don't know if you guys have ever watched Jordan Maxwell, but he has a lot of very heavy information. A lot of it rings very true. Anyway, one time I was at a bar, my favorite bar, and a girl came up to me and she claimed to be Jordan Maxwell's daughter. And then she told me that humans had sold out to the aliens decades ago. And so that the aliens slowly give us some technology so that the small groups that they keep in power. And like I said, my very first quote-unquote mental job was as a screenwriter. So everything that I take in, it goes through my screenwriter filter. And so that, you could definitely write a screenplay about that, That was a weird night, by the way. That's why I miss going out to bars. Because one time, Barry Bonds, baseball player, really good baseball player, he came up, sat down, and just started talking to me. He knew who I was. That was how I used to get a lot of really, 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 really good information. And most of the time, it would be off the record. Although I would name drop like, "Hey guys, I met Barry Bonds." But here's talking to X-Men now. People spend too much time focusing on like Bill Gates and Soros. That like there are some mental powerhouses between the ages of 20 and I would say 55 right now. And so they're just, I'm saying there are a lot of factors we don't know about. Yesterday, this morning, Putin said, hey, we've got a new weapon. We're not scared of America's hypersonic weapons anymore because the new weapon we have is 10 times better than that one. And the day before that, Regina was, the day before that, Putin was talking about how crappy of a job we've done with the pandemic, which I thought was interesting. But as Regina pointed out, yes, right now we have Pluto retrograde, Venus retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, and then you got Neptune going retrograde. We are going to have a total of 6 eclipses through 2020. And if 2020 is like a 3-act film, we are in the middle. We're in the nadir. All right. If you joined me the other night when I broke out the screenwriting book, Joseph Campbell's Monomyth, which Ivanka Trump referred to the other day, by the way, we would be somewhere between the belly of the whale, the meeting of the goddess. That hasn't happened yet, but who knows what's going to happen at this Cancer solar eclipse. And though I've seen Selena Gomez from like 10 feet away 5 times, I've never met her. I would love to meet her and Ariana. And if you want to think that makes me evil, that's fine. But if they are bad guys, I could convert them. Atonement with the Father, the ultimate boon. So yeah, so we're still in the belly of the whale. Or after the belly of the whale is the road of trials. So right now, we are in the, I know it's backwards. We are in the road of trials. And then coming up next would be the meeting of the goddess. And I would think that hopefully that would come when Venus goes direct. Although Star Heel, who's another astrologer, said that, the main everything gets better point is Mercury. And Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th. And Mercury is like the famous trope of the only planet that really matters in astrology that normies understand is Mercury. So it's like, oh no, Mercury retrograde. And Mercury is very powerful. Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th. And so it's like everything's going to be going backwards. And remember before the protests started, it was Pluto went retrograde. And then it was right after Jupiter and Saturn went retrograde. And then Trump started talking about Obamagate. And I said, bitch, please. There is nothing that is more of a retrograde move than to be talking about Obama right before your election. Like, there is nothing more retrograde than that in my mind. And so we are definitely, and one of my ex-girlfriends who I dated back in 2004, she messaged me out of the blue. She's smart and quirky and beautiful. I probably never get to see her again. She just messaged me and we messaged each other a couple times. She's taking the plague seriously too. So yeah, things are just going to keep getting weirder. And then another thing that's very anomalous is that with all the retrogrades happening and the slow movement of the planets, Pluto and Jupiter will be lined up in a straight line 3 different times this year. Do you know how weird that is? And like I've showed you guys before, a lot of the planets are all in the same row. And they're not specifically aligned, but they're like ducks walking down the road. And then so, I think it's in the middle of July, Jupiter and Pluto are lining straight up. And then the third time happens in November. And then, like I said, the big grand finale of 2020 is the December 21st, 2020. And if there is one thing I'm not getting to do enough of, it has been hang outside and stare at the stars. And that I did get to spend a lot of time in my life at my mom and stepdad's ranch, hanging out back with the dogs and the horses, drinking and smoking, staring at the sky for hours. It's one of my favorite things to do as a human being. And since I've been in foxhole duty, I haven't gotten to do it anywhere near enough. Although I still like to go look at the sun and the moon, I could definitely use some more just staring at the sky for hours sessions. And so I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm trying to kick ass, do great things, and that if I do get to kind of celebrate, it would be my birthday is December 19th. I've had like a 20-year run of totally shitty birthdays. For whatever reason, my birthday has sucked for like 20 fucking years. So I'm hoping to break that curse this December, because you have, I mean, technically you have Billie Eilish is on the 18th, so if like we were buddies, we could have a 48-hour birthday party. But my birthday's on the 19th. My mom's on the 7th. My mom and I are both Sagittarius. And then so you got the 21st is the big Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And then you've got Christmas Eve and Christmas and then New Year. And no matter what, I always love December. My birthdays may always totally suck, at least for the last 20 years, but I always love December. And every single Christmas day, whether I was alone or with family and friends, I've enjoyed every Christmas pretty much in my life. I have good luck in December and I have good luck on Christmas. Zeus, a Gemini. Happy birthday, my friend. And so, but I'm glad that, like I said, I was talking about that, like, there are 70 people here listening to me. That still, to this day, blows my mind. Talking to more than 10 people is it's a responsibility. And I always used to say, remember back in the day for like the first 5 years, every video of mine was edited. Every one. And then I started doing the one takers, and then now I barely put out edited videos. But what was the whole point there? Natasha. Happy birthday on the 31st. Crap, I lost my mind. Regina. DJ Zedok. Hit the button, baby. Play guitar for us. All right, give me like 5 more minutes and I will. But I'm in like a retrograde period with my guitar. I'll try and... And I love y'all too. And in 2022, 2023, it would be great if we had some type of party out in Alpine, Texas, and the Leo King would be there, and I would be there, and Astrological would be there. And so it would be like a astrology, astronomy, God, rock and roll, and good food hangout for like 5 days where we stare at the stars. And then for like 2 or 3 hours a day, we put on videos or presentations. And you know what I've talked about for a long time? It's like my favorite thing that, like, dude, I would love to sit down. I can conversate with anyone. It was something that, like Dave Chappelle said. that like, it doesn't matter who you are. If it's words, he can stand on the stage or sit at a table with anyone on the planet with words. And I feel the exact same way. And so, you know, I've talked to, like, I would love to sit down with BP and talk. I would love to sit down with suspicious observers and talk and disagree. Especially if it was live, you know? Or even Diamond from Oppenheimer, like I am totally okay with sitting down and talking to people who totally disagree with me. Because I can hold my own, and I can usually tell a pretty good joke every 2 minutes. Sometimes, if I'm, you know. And so, during that same thing, it would be great to have multiple parties who didn't always see each other, but still, at the core, do some pretty good work. That would be great, man. Because, like, listening to me talk all by myself is a different animal. Listening to Ben or anybody else who, like, where everyone is, like, safer. It's like a Taylor Swift interview. They're, like, there are questions you're not allowed to ask. There are things you're not allowed to say. There are things that are never going to be discussed. Like, shit, it would just be cool to have some type of environment where you had, like, 3 or 4 people who disagree sit down in front of other people and show that you can still have a good, intelligent, funny, informative conversation between people who don't agree. And then you could definitely tell more who sells more bullshit and who's dealing with more truth. It's like I keep just talking about like how dumb Obamagate is. And then people, I'll be like, what's it about? They'll be like, they spied on Trump. I'll be like, bitch, fucking, wasn't it like 8 years ago? They were like, oh, by the way, Amazon records every conversation you ever have. Facebook records every conversation you ever have. Google records every conversation you ever have. Microsoft records every conversation you ever have. Apple records every conversation you ever had. But I got motherfuckers in 2020 going, hey, they were listening on President Trump's conversations. It was Obama and his friends. I'm like, why are you retrograding me, Bo? You know? Like, we live in a world where I would guess since 2008, they've been harvesting everything we do and say. Everything. And so, in light of that, the fact that fucking people may have spied on Trump's conversations in 2016 doesn't amount to a hill of beans with me. And I don't know where the fuck it's going to get us, you know? And you're talking to me. Like, I have dealt with censorship and people listening into whatever device I'm on, whatever video, like, on my porch. It's one of the reasons I don't go outside a lot. Like, hey, so yeah, you know, that's Thor News' stance is that they, at least since around 2012 or 2008, they've been recording everything, bro. And that, you know, my stepbrother, who is really cool, really smart, technically, he may be funnier than I am. And great dad. He works and has worked for a couple decades, I think, for the largest data storage company in the world. It's called the EMC Squared. I don't know if you heard of it. And so that, like, you know, I have known about the data storage issues for a long time. So I got dumb, no offense, dickweeds yelling at me about, hey man, have you heard they were spying on Trump's conversations in 2016? It's like, well, A, he won the fucking election, and B, they've been recording and harvesting everyone's data, not EMC, because they just handle the fucking data, but since definitely 2012. And they've been putting, remember the dragon thing where you can talk to text, the original one? That was so basically they could put in like buzz keywords And so that when they're filtering all this data through their apps and their programs, they can just like put in like Osama bin Laden. So it'll like file down. Lawyers have I forget what it's called. So it'll just like file things by keywords that you say. And yeah, they've been blackmailing. They have blackmail shit on everybody. And if they don't have anything on you, they can create it through deepfake shit. It's a crazy world, and I've done everything I can to tell you guys what I believe to be the truth while respecting where I got the truth from. My mom's sister's husband was like the number 3 guy at Hewlett Packard for 30 years. You ever heard, they made printers back in the day. I don't know if you know what printers are. Anyway, he was like the number 3 guy. Like, it's like when I'm showing you my movies. I've been around a lot of really cool, really smart go-getters and doers in the world my whole life. And that all the tech guys have known, at least since about 2015, that we are going to see 1 billion layoffs on planet Earth. It's like a statistical guaranteed certainty that mass layoffs have been coming, plague or no plague. And so as Planetary Defense Commander, you're all my people, all of you. And at cost, feeding and taking care of everybody, giving everybody the basics really is the way to go, and it would be so easy. And so, like, we have known that, yeah, dude, you know, especially in the next 2 or 3 years, we could see 1 billion unemployed people over all of planet Earth. And that politics has taught most people to have a dog-eat-dog mind. They're like, well, it's their fault. It's like musical chairs, you know? So if you lose your job, then you lost life, buddy. And you still better pray to Jesus. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons why I became Planetary Defense Commander. And a lot of my job is just to remind people that we get the greatest rewards by working together. That if you take all the resources and energy that are put into war and deception, I mean, think about how much energy went into telling people that oil came from dinosaur bones. You know, so a lot of energy is being used to keep up old lies that have existed for hundreds of years. And so if you take all that energy and those resources, and you just have a world without war, deception, there's like no limit to what we can do, what we can build, what we can create. Technically, it could probably easily be lobster every motherfucking day. That's what you want. And yeah, everybody's going to still have to work a minimum of 10 to 20 hours to keep up your community and do your part and either do some cleaning or some cooking outside of your own house. But it could be really cool. And I get a lot of people who have a lot more money are like, no, that could never happen. Or if it happens, that's exactly what the devil wants. The devil wants you to take care of those 1 billion people who just got laid off like human beings. Like you are their godfather and grandmother. And I forget who said it, but someone pointed out that, like, you know, the difference between humans and animals, that like we can understand, we're like self-aware in ways that make us more like the children of God. But like dogs and birds, whether they don't have health insurance and they don't have an income, and somehow they still get fed almost every day and run around pretty happy. I mean, like horses and cows, mostly at times can just survive on grass. And I have this problem in my kitchen where I've got like 50 little gnats or fruit flies. I don't know where they came from. Like, I didn't leave out like fruit that decayed in the sink. Like, they just showed up and I don't know how to get rid of them. And so, if I understand correctly, like just when fruit decays, it can create insects. And so, I don't know. We have a lot of power as human beings. And a lot of that power is our ability to imagine and create. And that's where I run into head bumps with nihilists. Where they're like, everything's going to suck. We're going to lose. I am a Christian nihilist. I'm like, sorry, buddy. I'm your planetary defense commander, Star-Lord, New Thor 7. And no, things will improve. We will save the day. And Earth will reach a new peak of civilization. Team Earth, baby. And then we'll finally figure out what is the deal with the sun and the moon in the sky. Because I don't think many people know. Woo! And that's another cool thing about, like, pretty much everyone in my family has a good sense of humor. We can all tell a joke. We can all make each other, like... And so, if that can happen within my own family, then that can happen on Earth. People can learn to be funny. You know? Someone said, you don't show on my feed anymore. Okay. That is, like I said, that's true. That a lot of people don't get, I have 55,000 subscribers supposedly. Like, a lot of people don't get notifications. A lot of people, they've done a lot of stuff for 7.5 years to keep me in a little box. And so I've always felt it's like a weird connection that the people who need to hear me at the right times. And that's why if you have got a chance to watch me, I think you've been very lucky. And I've been very lucky that you've got an opportunity. I've never had a fair chance to thrive amongst a large audience. Though, as I've mentioned, that's never technically been my goal, because I've always gone after the coolest of the cool, the smartest of the smart, the most creative of the most creative, the best cooks, the best music, like cool people, man. People who can relate to being super great at least one thing. Or just good people. Oh my God. Oh, my body. See? Like, if I go outside and my joints are lubricated, then I can still move like a superhero, but only for like 2 minutes, and then I get all out of breath. But if I've been sitting down for a long time, I've turned into a fat ass with bad joints during lockdown of 2.5 years. And I told y'all that story where, like 2,000 steps away, there's a Walgreens. And the very first time in February when I went and spent $200 on groceries and cleaning products, and I had to carry $200 worth of groceries for 2,000 steps, which is about a mile. I almost died that day. I have a little bit of it on video. I'll have to find it some, because I got heat exhaustion, and there was a while where my hand didn't work, and I couldn't see. Anyway, it scared me because my mom was always like, if you don't get healthy, you're going to have a heart attack or worse, an aneurysm. And so, I had a tiny tooth chip the other day. What I'm talking about is, even as a 48 man who smokes, and hey, I'll be honest with you, because it's what I do. Right now, I'm having an energy drink. It's delicious. Is it the number of the beast? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I definitely think I'm addicted to that. Definitely have at least one a day. But yeah, so mom's always like, heart attack, aneurysm. Remember when I was on Adderall, prescribed by my doctor? And I'm still trying to get back on that. Doctoring is hard in the last 3 months. It's like, that shit is not good for your heart either. And I took that stuff prescribed by a doctor nonstop for the last 7 years up until like 6 months ago. And I would, like, if I would have died taking Adderall of a heart attack, I would have been like, you know what? But during that time where I edited all my videos, I felt like the greatest video maker on the planet, or that the work, if I died, hey dude, I was the best during that period. Que sera, sera. It's very Mitch Hedberg-ish. Anyway, I'm still here. But my mom has made me fear getting an aneurysm like my whole life. Because she's like, you know, you might turn into a vegetable and then I got to take care of you the rest of my life. So eat healthy so I don't have to take care of you. Oh, I'm going to have a cigarette though. And so that's what I'm saying. You know, I'm, as a man, as planetary defense commander, I don't want to lose our president. But when I watch the president do the thing with the water, and then him coming down the stairs, that like his health is not, something has happened. And he's 74, bro. Is 25 years older than me. And I have mentioned multiple times, as your planetary defense commander, I want him to live, though I will not be voting for him. But that, I've said this multiple times, that I'm worried about Biden and the president in a plague year. And you have to mentally be prepared for the chance that November will roll around and neither Biden nor Trump are still alive. That is not the outcome that I want or desire. But this is like, if that happened, people are like, holy fuck, what do we do now? Oh my God. Like, this is why you have to think of worst case scenarios ahead of time. And so if they happen to happen, you are better prepared. And so, honestly, how I've watched some of my fellow Christians and Republicans and conservatives godify Trump, like he is the Punisher, he is Rambo, he is Superman, he can do everything and defeat anything, and he can bend the universe to his will. That has not been my stance. And so if you were being honest in your heart and you look at the two things that happened in the last 48 hours, it looks like he's had some major health problems. And he has to be under, you know, it's an incredible amount of stress being president. And I have to give him credit that even though we have a lot of cities on fire, it still hasn't totally fallen apart. And if whatever happens at the end of 2020, if we do get to the gold years and the roaring 20s and the flapper girls of 2022 and 2023, then for better or worse, he helped us all get to that period where everything improved. That's what a lot of times that's the problem I have with it. It seems like a lot of people are like, I know who should die. Like, Bush is evil, he should die. Trump is evil, he should die. Obama's evil, he should die. Bill Gates is evil, he should die. Like, fucking Carol Baskin is evil, she should die. I know, you should die. And even when I get engaged in political conversations now, I get all those people saying I don't deserve a right to live or I should die. Like, that's just been a weird, super creepy, super anti-Christian, like, wishing death upon anybody. That's not my game, man. And so it just seems like a bad situation having half the country wishing death or ill will on the other half of the country. But we're hanging in there. And everything I'm talking about is just a tiny American microcosm. There's 194 other countries out there, man. And that has been frustrating on the plague front, where when all the people who call it a hoax and shit, like, are you even watching what is happening in Brazil? Have you even paid attention to Brazil? Brazil is now the number 2 most deaths. It took over the UK. And so, like, at what point in some fucking jacked up, why would Brazil, 6 months in, be faking and the same multi-corpse multi-burial, like, why would, when literally the president, how the president of Brazil handled it, he stopped giving out updates. He stopped giving out any information whatsoever. But everyone in Brazil, go look up some of the videos coming out of Brazil of the people in the cities. So why would you have what we refer to as a third world country? Why would you have, like, deep actors in some of the poorest levels of all the poorest towns talking about how many people are dying, and that in Mexico, they are running the human furnace 24/7, just like China was supposedly doing? Why on God's earth would you have the poorest of the poor in countries like Mexico and Brazil acting like it for the just to hurt Trump's chances in 2020? It's like the stupidest shit ever. Putin yesterday was talking about how disappointed he is in America. Like, every country has responded to it in their own way, but if you analyze all the data, it's a fucking problem. It's a brand new issue we have to deal with. And it's not going away anytime soon. And there's no magic fucking vaccine that you can take and then go to a concert tomorrow. I know they've got everyone scared of vaccines, but that choice is still a year and a half away. And then they'd have to figure out a way to get it to you. Although, maybe they can just G5 it straight into your brain. But another thing that I've reiterated is that I said in February, we will play defense till July 4th, and we will collect data and that is what we are going to do. And so I'm giving you my hypotheses of what we've seen since then, but, like, there's still a lot of fucking information we don't know, and that on an American level, we've only been dealing with this for 100 days. So all these people drawing these major conclusions, or, like, warping how Iran is treating it this way, or, like, dude, there's still, we will know in the next 2 weeks to a month, you will know for sure whether this is real or a hoax. That over the last 5 days, the amount of cases totally disconnected from hospitalizations and deaths, though they are both lagging indicators. Now in Texas, Arizona, North Carolina, verifiable hospitalizations are going up. Texas is up like 40% hospitalizations. And so with Republicans and conservatives not wearing a mask to show their American spirit of rebellion, and with Democrats holding major protests for 2 weeks straight, where even if only 80% of people wear masks, you still get 20% who are fucking it up and killing people's grandmas, that we will know the truth within the next 2 weeks to a month. to where except, and so that's why I'm saying, like, I have said the whole time, like, hey, I will make another, since January 30th, I've said treat it like a horrible disease. And then we will reassess July 4th. And so since that time, like, Wall Street has tricked everybody into not really taking it that seriously. And that we should have taken all that energy and figured out how to feed people and deal with it the best way possible and keep everything that you need up and running. Wall Street has been like, no, we'll just skip that shit. Like you say, colloidal silver, like I said, there are a lot of things you can do that if you fight it. And yes, it seems to only be fatal for most of the time 65 and older. Though I'm not willing to sacrifice my mom or grandma, dude, ever. Or yours. And the virus, all the reports that I'm reading, a girl just had a double lung transplant, that it does permanent damage to your organs. Your lungs, your liver, your kidney, sometimes your eye, like, it attacks the inside of the human body. And so 3 months in, that is what I believe to be true. And that is why I'm saying everybody should be doing whatever the fuck this is. You don't want to get it. It is new. It is like the Y2K 2020 virus. I don't want it. We don't want to spread it. But, now men are proving their masculinity by not wearing a mask. And then the Karens are not wearing a mask and telling everybody to get the fuck out of our country, even if they were born here. And I think one of the things where I'm not racist is that I love women. And so whether they be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, God makes beautiful women of all shapes and sizes, of all races and nationalities. And I haven't found a wife, so all races are totally open to me. And so, I don't know, I've always kind of viewed basing any type of your belief system of superiority on the other people's skin as like the dumbest shit ever. Like, if I was going to have feelings of superiority, I might feel superior that I can tell really funny jokes, or I can make really great videos, or I can play guitar, or sometimes I can sing well. Like, I would draw some type of self-worth out of the talents that I have put time and energy into that I got better at. And by getting decent at guitar, I have a respect for all musicians. And the best musicians are extremely racially diverse. And so, like, any type of thing that gets into, like, and that's to me what it's always been, that, like, people who need self-esteem boosts, it's like Christians who hate non-Christians or Muslims or even Christians who don't agree with what they could be in. It's only because they feel better because there are a bunch of people that are bad people and they're the good people. Or that, like, inherently just by being a white guy and thinking every other race is inferior, that's where they get their, like, I am awesome because my skin be white. And so that's like all they have in their life. That's as high as their belief system goes, and it doesn't go very high. Technically, it's a form of, like, mental handicap, spiritual handicap, in my opinion. Like, if you are, like, judging the character of a human being based on the color of their skin that's been the easiest trick in the book for the devil to pull. But it's had zero value at actual human beings. And there are things that, like, one of the things is that I believe that maybe 6% of police officers are bad, and that so you weed out the bad ones. But it's like there's no national police database. And that gets us to the whole other thing. That like people fear technology so much, even though they use it every day all the time, that like to do a contact tracing program, that would be the thing that would help if you knew who got the virus and where was safe, and we could get those people treated and take care of it as best as possible. That shit is fucking impossible. Because people fear technology so much, they're already tracking you, bro. If they wanted to put microchips in you, they could have done it through your fucking potato chips. They are tracking your phone. Like, remember the thing in Batman, Dark Knight Returns, where it's like, we combined all the phones into one mass, radar readout, sonar. They're doing that shit. So they're already using technology in ways to strengthen themselves, but our own belief system are limiting the ways we could use technology as a society to help each other. And so, yeah, I still say avoid the plague like the plague and play defense and try and decipher everything from a neutral point of view. And that the election will be major just in a way that it may show us how outdated our system is. If a worst case scenario shows up and both Biden and Trump are physically unable to be president, then that is definitely going to have us asking a whole lot of questions 100 days before the election. I mean, if I had to pick one, I liked Tulsi Gabbard a lot. But the media, at least 70% of them, because I consider Fox and Onan media, dude. The like left side of the media kneecapped her straight out of the gate. It was like if Russiagate was the bullshit overcard, then kneecapping Tulsi Gabbard was the undercard. She was the one person I got excited about. We're like, that's the president I want. I think she's a Hawaiian woman. Hey, it's a good time for a Hawaiian woman president. And she was in the military, bro. So you got a bunch of fucking pencil dicks. Couldn't bust a grape in a food fight. Accusing her, who's a surfer and been in the military, of being a fucking Russian operative. With zero proof. Other than she told people that the Russiagate would go nowhere. Which is the same shit I told y'all. Like, I worked with lawyers for 5 years. I understand how the process fucking works. You know, like, it's like when everyone's saying Hillary's going to jail. It's like, no, she's not. Like, it's like, I don't think Trump will go to jail. And it just sets a bad precedent. But, like I said, major Asteroid Fight Club shit here. You know, just imagine, let's say it's a movie. If somehow Trump and Biden can't run for president in 2020, that creates it creates a great opportunity for us to start a new system, because this system is so fucking fucked, bro. I mean, the fact that Trump or Biden has to raise $1 billion just to run should tell you that it is wrong. One of the best mentors I've ever had when I was talked about, like, I've dreamed of running for president for like 20 years, but in a fun capacity. Every time I would say it to Forrest, my mentor, he would say, you don't have enough money to run for president. So to even be president, you got to somehow borrow $1 billion from everybody. And it's another reason whenever people are like, you beg for money. I'm like, look, bitch, I put out excellent information on the economy, on oil, on the weather, on like everything. And that so all these politicians who ran this year, they asked you for money and they never gave you jack shit in return, especially other ones that lost. They raised hundreds of, like, what's the name of that dude from Texas who said, like, we're taking away everybody's 25 or AR-15. You know, like he raised like 40 million in the first week he said he's running for president. And then you knew he wasn't going to get it, but he still spent 40 to 100 million dollars worth of people's money just running. Anyway, that's why I don't have a moral issue with me running my channel on contributions, because it keeps me honest and it has a whole video game aspect to it. Although I thought more people who had money would be more rewarding for all the work that I've done and for the hundreds, if not thousands of videos they have watched. That does not happen. Although I'm glad, Emma sent me a wand. I guess with Emma, I'm just upset that I never got a hug. All right. Yay, Jackson. Jackson, one of the coolest dudes I've ever known, named Jackson. Man, I miss the Denton days. Life was so... Oh, another thing, can we talk about? So that they're doing the whole... Since I've been running Thor News, I don't know, how many times is the world supposed to end? Like 7 times, 8 times? Remember, the first one was Planet X, and then came the Mayan calendar, and then there have just been multiple, the world, the rapture date. And so I've made multiple videos on, like, the world is going to end on this date. And so they pulled it out again. They said they left out 11 days over X amount of span of the last blah, blah, blah. So the world is supposed to end on the solar eclipse that is in 6 days. And so, my joke is like, well, crap, I should be running a fundraiser now. If I don't have beer, I should get a rental car. I would definitely spend like $300 getting a rental car if we only had a week left, and I would drive just around. And then, so I should be doing an end of the world fundraiser so I could be eating lobster and steak during my last week. Man, I haven't had lobster in years. It's good though, from what I remember. But the place I live next door to, the pizza joint, somehow I always forget their name. It's like Alfonso's. They have $6 large pepperoni pickup. And so that's kind of been like lobster every day. Although I don't eat it every day. Shit, I went like 3 weeks without buying one in March. But I drank a lot of whiskey. My whiskey consumption is down in this month. I haven't drank any whiskey this month, y'all. And I've drank beer 3 times, maybe 4. Though there's a good chance I'll be drinking in the next few days. Beer. I'm giving you a hug over the internets right now, party people. But, yesterday I had a giant burst of optimism. And I noticed it. I just sustainably feel better and am more positive and feel more powered up when we have a sunspot on the sun and it's popping out solar flares. I usually have good energy on those days. And if that is true, this is nothing compared to the energy I and we will be feeling 5.5 years from now. And that is exciting. And we are almost a year away from the 1-year anniversary where I sat on a bench 10 feet away from 3 of the most beautiful women, technically 4, if you want to count M Unicorn, most women I'd ever seen in my life 10 feet away. And so there may be days where, hey, I'm talking to 4 women in person And we're having a nice conversation, whether it be in 2021, 2022, or 2020. Better days are going to return. Ow. And it's happening again. What is happening? What's happening with you, my party people? Oh yeah, I haven't even checked the Matrix in like an hour and 40 minutes. Yes, we agree on that, man. Yes, JL, we agree on that. And I think we agree that Amelia Clark is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Like her smile gives off sunlight or some shit. I don't even know. I've seen it twice in person, though I've never talked to her. But she radiates beauty on major levels. And so, I don't know. I know that I talk about it too much. Stacey Dash is, yeah. Stacey Dash. Man, it was hard. I can remember back in the day, for guys, Gen X, Stacey Dash, Jessica Alba, and Jessica Biel. And I used to talk about 20 years ago. I used to say weird, dumb shit like, if you took a poll of people, of all human beings, and asked all of them like how many thought Jessica Alba was beautiful, I think her score would be like 98%. There would be like 2% of dipshits who were like, she's not beautiful. But there are just some women, for whatever reason, are super goddess-like in their looks. And so yeah, Stacey Dash, Jessica Biel, and Jessica Alba are, back in the day, rated. Or this could be weirder. Can we talk? Is it late enough in the morning, guys? Can I talk about weird shit? Because, have you ever thought about someone you had a crush on while you were masturbating? I remember the first time I ever thought of this was like when Britney Spears came out and was Britney. Definitely, I think it was during the "Oops, Look What You Did Again," and I thought I wonder how many guys are thinking of Britney at night when they masturbate. And on an energetic level, I think Britney feels that, or at the time felt that in some way. To know that at the time when she came out, that I don't know, maybe 10% of all the men on the planet were thinking about her when they masturbated. That just seemed like a weird, I don't know, if you understand energy and it's quantum physics. They call it power of attraction, power of positive thinking, or trying to create your own future. Not after she shaved her head. Well, here's another sensitive subject that may trigger people, but it's late at night and the world could end in 6 days. Asterisk. It's that they have a saying that there will always be a better gunfighter that comes along. But for X amount of periods, for a month or 3 years, gunfighter X is the best gunfighter on the planet. And I've kind of had and it comes off of the face that launched 1,000 ships. That it seems over the course of time where the Cindy Crawford, you just have a thing where somehow a woman can be during that time, everyone is like, oh my gosh, she's the most beautiful woman on the planet during that peak stage. And so, and I talk about how in my mind, it's the most beautiful woman on the planet changes every single day. I don't know. So yes, like I said, during the, right Britney Spears around, the oops, I did it again, was, I don't know, I would consider one of the most attractive women on the planet. And just like Jessica Alba, but we all go through, waves, ups and downs. J-Lo, who's always been gorgeous, it still looks as gorgeous today as she always has. So, I don't know. Crap. The guy told me not to talk about women. At least I didn't talk about boobs, y'all. So can I get some points for not talking about boobs? Wave after wave after wave. And I don't know. Charlize Theron. Yes, she is definitely gorgeous, and I would work with her as a lead lady or an actress any day of the week. Although, I know, I like Cranky, who I love, has a big thing for her, so I try not to mix crushes. And it's just better if Cranky has a huge crush on her, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? So, and, if Cool Dreams came true, it would be great to go on a meteorological double date with Cranky, Charlize, and then whoever I got to hang out with. And then we could just go sip margaritas and discuss the weather. And then I would think for that day he wouldn't be cranky. And so I could be like, I got you. You owe me one. You know what I'm saying? Just kidding. He has done such a... I should put on that Astrological, Leo King, Dave Chappelle, Cranky Weather Guy. Those like people that I look to that always shoot me straight. And Cranky and I talk, in our messages a lot that you guys don't see. So I'm just saying that, but he always shoots me straight. And he's another person who said the virus is real and you should take care of it and avoided it. At one point in time on his blog, he put out like a 25-point list of all the things you could do. And then he got really frustrated because nobody paid attention to it. But I love that dude, and he has done a spectacular job in the, since I've been Planetary Defense Commander. And I like the fact that he's cranky. He reminds me of David Letterman a lot. And so I've enjoyed getting to collaborate with David Letterman of weather for the last 5 years. And he's just a cool guy. And we both agree that, don't trust politicians. Oh, but his favorite movie, one of them, is the new Charlize Theron Road Warrior. I still haven't seen it. The other night, I tried to see if I could buy it or rent it, and it wasn't available. I don't know. Everybody says it's good. I want to see it. I know I've talked about her way too much, but Selena's definitely one of that girl. I mean, and not only is she one of the most beautiful women on the planet, and we're talking every part of her body, even her shoulders, her ears, her neck, her hips, but she's got one of the most amazing voices out there. And you may not like her music, and I don't give a shit. To me, she's great. And I guess because of my mama, beautiful women have always been the carrot on the stick that I'm chasing when I work. Because then one day I thought I will find a woman who's my equal, and we will be a super badass power couple that hopefully raises kids and animals together. That's the dream. That is my agenda, to make the world a place that you love living in. And I have somehow acquired the most beautiful, coolest wife on the planet. Although the shadow side of me, at times on dark nights, it's like, well, since you've gotten this far without getting married, maybe just take 3 girlfriends instead at once. That way you could play maximum defense because you got one in front guarding you and then 2 in the back in a triangle formation. And then everybody takes care of everybody's babies and raises them. I should probably get off now that I don't have a lot to say. All right. I love you guys. Please stay cool. And know that it's only going to get more 2020. Oh, Denny O'Neil, who was an editor at DC Comics and was a major influence in all the writing and mythos of Batman, passed away. So, cheers to him. Oh, I guess I will play guitar. And so, I don't know, I haven't had a lot of time to grieve all the people that have been lost. I don't think I've grieved Kenny Rogers well enough. Like, it's a weird fucking year that I think we are stuck in forward gear. And even the people who are calling it a hoax, it's kind of their own way of mentally dealing with it. Like I've said before, the people who viewed Trump as some perfect god can't even imagine that it could have fucked up so bad he got 100,000 people killed that could have been avoided. That they just can't deal with it. Just like I haven't dealt with all the people we have lost as Planetary Defense Commander. It's the year still, we're still in slow Thanos, so I do not have time to cry like I did over Puerto Rico multiple times. Anyway, okay. Two hours. Oh, I shaved because my neighbor Rose, 92-year-old sweetheart, she's like, you need to shave. And I was like, okay, fine. Then another lady was like, dang it, why did you cut your hair off? And honestly, short hair feels better in the summer, especially on the back of your neck. Women know what I'm talking about. If you have long hair, when you put your hair up, it always feels great, especially if you have it down all day. And so, if there's one thing that men get to do that women don't seem to get to do much, it's that some of us can grow our hair long if we want, and then we cut it real short if we want. And we can still be handsome either way. And women are still pretty with short hair. It's just, I don't know. It's Selena ended up my wife, and she was like, I'm thinking about cutting my hair all off really short because I want to. I'll be like, are you mad at me, baby? What did I do wrong? What can I do to make it up for you? All right, let's try to tell jokes again. Here we go. Do I remember how to play guitar? Are you in tune? Okay, so this concludes the talking portion of the show. Asterisk. We're going to start with the G chord. I was feeling great on this summer day, and I don't care what you say. Personal energetic space, so please get out of my face. I am doing the best that I can. Can you give me a hand? And together we'll make the world a better place. Whoo! My throat has gotten dry. And confession. Dark Helmet, DH, power hitter. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. You guys are awesome. Oh, so let me say one thing that's weird. If you've noticed, and the full benefit of the super chat thing. Okay, guys, remember, I got my phone, my new iPhone, thanks to y'all, Ask for a Fire Club, like 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, right before the plague started. Because it had the camera and my old, where is it? And I still haven't given the number out to anyone. Like my old phone is, look at that, it's so jacked up you can barely even, it's almost gonna break. But I don't want to give the phone number on this one to anyone in the world. Anywho, the whole point is that like the bad guys I get mad about and talk about in my videos sometimes are really great at digital stuff. And so just like they can make my videos not show up, before I got the iPhone, pretty much the majority of super chat money for the last 2 or 3 years went to them. That they would send me like $1 or $2 donations. But other than that, I never saw any of that money. And that, you know, on multiple levels, they were trying to not only steal my income, but drive me out of the game. And so, once I got this iPhone, instantly, like when I do live streams now, like people send me super chat money. I mean, if you'll notice, I never do live streams on my laptop because A, they always hack into it and mess it up, and B, all that money goes straight to them. And last time I checked, they're all doing really well financially. We'll see how they feel when the markets go sub 20,000, especially if they believe the bullshit they were selling, that there's no pandemic. And that's what people don't understand, that the money traders are trying to sell people bad information. It's part of their job. They make you think shit is going to crash when it's going to go up, and then make you think shit is going to go up when it's going to crash. Anyway, what was my whole point? But still, like, the whole super chat aspect of Thor News and me getting, although YouTube does take like 20 or 30% out, I'm still grateful, but that the whole super chat money has been a brand new aspect of Thor News that I really appreciate. But it's really only been going on for like 2 months, 2.5. And so on the 21st, I will be doing better for the first time ever. And so that is really cool. So I really thank y'all. And it's always a weird, cool, like when I talk about this is like a video game, 'cause, you know, for the majority of the month, for like 7 annoying days, I do a fundraiser, and then I try not to talk about money unless I really need it for 3 weeks. I kind of like that deal. But so now I get to just talk, and I don't have to like worry about money. And so just anytime you guys send me money, it's like a cool thing. It's like my video game-ish life just improved. And so thank you. And that is awesome. And one thing that has improved, that like, at least for now, the bad guys aren't allowed to steal this revenue stream. And they're doing that to so many YouTubers, man. So many YouTubers are getting totally grifted across all, whether it be astrology channels, gamer channels, like, unless you can afford your own like IT software and stream protector who's always on the payroll. When I talked to suspicious observers back in, was it 2015? He said he had 3 guys on the payroll for, security protection on the internets. I was like, wow, that's way better. I got nothing, dude. I don't even know how to code. That's wild. So if you don't, if you have some type of technology defense team, then you can protect all your revenue streams. But that they're stealing from people in digital ways on amazing amounts, not just for me, but pretty sure thousands and millions of people. Look at how much Google has. If you even look at how much Google on their level, and when I talk about this, sometimes my channel gets punished. So, but that, like, if you look at how much their profits have gone up, and just the YouTube division, and how compared to how much they pay the creators, you can definitely see a like. And I don't know. I've just always wanted some type of fairness and semblance. And out of the $1 trillion that trillions and trillions these guys have, you come up with the $20,000 it takes to feed and clothe and give everybody a home, and still have billions and trillions left over for those fucking guys. It's very frustrating. That's why Alex Jones even admitted, like, hey, dude, I make $40 million doing Alex Jones a year. Joe Rogan just got $30 million a year for being Joe Rogan. Oh, I think everything's changing though. So we'll see how 2020 goes. Like, have you seen rock and roll lately? What happened to rock and roll? It just disappeared, it just vanished. I don't know, I guess people just forgot how to have a guitar, a singer, a bass player, and drums, and then write a song. Or really good ones that all the people would like. I guess that shit just magically stopped happening. I don't think I'm anywhere near as good as the best people on the planet that write songs and play music. So fly. The miracle mile. Your heart melts into me. Does feel good though. And just the fact that, like, you can put 6 strings on a wooden body shaped just like a woman. Can't tell. These are like her hips. This would be her waist. And these are like her shoulders. And this is her neck. This is making her nape. And then this is her head. What's it talking about? I don't even know. This is the musical part of the show. gotta calm down. Oh my God! And then everyone died. And if this is on, how's this camera angle? I gotta rotate it. What happened? Everything is upside down. Holy crap. No. Whoa. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm worried about you. I hope you make it. Oh crap. Dark. Helmet. I really gotta clean my apartment. It's filthy. Like, it's totally filthy. So it was like a samurai movie, and I've been in like samurai battles for 1,000 days in a row, and then like another samurai stopped by. I was like, man, your shit is filthy. You should clean it. I'd be like, why? You got another fucking battle tomorrow, bro. And I haven't had a hug from a woman in 1,000 days. So there's no fucking way you can convince me to clean up all my shit. And I'll probably, solar maximum, I'll probably get it cleaner though. That was kind of a joke, I guess. Let's see, what is the chord I don't usually play? Wow. All over the map. I got a paper towel on my foot. Oh. Okay, another weird confession. Even though I'm sober, I have weird, gross zombie feet. But please remember, I played football from like 4th grade to like freshman year, and I'm a big, heavy guy, even when I'm in shape. And so my feet have taken a lot of abuse, and so they just look like zombie feet. And my nails are definitely gross. But I've been okay with that. But never in my life have I thought I could be a foot model. And I'm okay with that too. Come here, light. Make me look beautiful. Oh, and if you just joined us, I've been here for 2 hours, so I've run out of material, but begrudgingly, I am still here. I'd be skateboarding, but I'm kind of middleweight. I made this point before, but I'm going to make it again since you remind me. Of the protesters, those who broke off and were rioters causing damage, it seemed like for a while all of them had skateboards, which seemed to fit the profile. Although the woman that burned the Wendy's down was a white lady. And she burned it down in a real weird way. She must have hated their chicken nuggets or something. I don't know, Wendy's chicken nuggets, sweet and sour sauce is on par with McDonald's chicken nuggets, sweet and sour sauce. And Chick-fil-A's sweet and sour sauce for chicken nuggets. So I enjoy living in a world where you can love Wendy's, Chick-fil-A's, and McDonald's chicken nuggets, man. But people are like, no, there must be one superior chicken nugget. And what if it's us? What if the aliens are going to show up tomorrow, freeze us like popsicles, leave us standing in our, like, oh no. And they're going to like use their super G7 to zap us all of their spaceships. And then they're just going to eat us as appetizers for like 1 billion years. And then so they're going to like unfreeze And you're gonna thaw and be like, wait, what just happened? And then they're like, we get to eat you now. So like you were in stasis dreaming for a while. Oh, that's horrible. Why did I just think of that? And they were like, do you remember when you ate 100,000 chicken nuggets, motherfucker? And I would be like, yeah. But it was Dippin' Sauce's fault, because Dippin' Sauces are so delicious. I should have switched to Hush Puppies. Jesus, why didn't I switch to Hush Puppies? And then the aliens eat you slowly, chunk by chunk. Who knows what's going to happen next? I guess that's what I'm saying. And now I'm hungry from some chicken nuggets. And now I'm talking about Jack in the Box tacos. If you are a beer drinker and you ever combined beer drinking and at the end, Jack in the Box tacos, it seemed to give them a power up. I think they just throw those things in the grease. They're good though. Anywho. Oh. And I gotta give a shout out to my friend. We're not talking right now. We're not gonna talk till November because his conservative ideology right now, and I just don't. He took me to Taco Bell like 2-3 weeks ago. So I still super appreciate that. That was like birthday, although it's June. You guys ever been to Dave & Buster's? Oh yeah, so when I started the video, the Dow Jones was down 3%. And so if you will have noticed, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, like cruise ships started going back up, airlines started going back up, like all the industries who've just been totally fucking devastated in 3 months and will continue to be totally fucking devastated for another year and 9 months. All their stocks just started going the fuck up. I'm like, hey guys, they're pumping and dumping us. I told you about it. It's still happening. The plague is happening. Anyway, so yesterday, or the day before yesterday, the day before, the stock market went down like 1,800 points, which was the third or fourth biggest drop ever, and all the top 7 drops came this year. And so when I looked down, the futures were down like 800-ish, almost 900. And futures don't usually go down that much. But so futures are an indicator of what the market may look like when it opens. Which gets us back to another point. That if, I don't know if you guys can handle this. Like, I'm chain smoking. I only got 3 left. This is my 4th. One thing I've definitely learned during like the first half of Thor News was that like, oh, central banks are more powerful than politicians, bro. You know what I'm saying? Bill and Ted were going to show up. I would be like, hey, Bill and Ted, central banks are way more powerful than individual politicians and presidents who will be in and out in 8 years. And they're good buddies with the Treasury. And so, in the last week, our president was like, it was like the day after the 1,800 point drop, he was like, fuck you, I'm doing a great job, and the Federal Reserve is sucking balls again. It is their fault that the stock market is not super kicking ass. If they would have lowered rates, anywho, the Federal Reserve is a bunch of big dipshitted jerks. That was our president. And the same day he was like, and you know what? Fox News, they're getting too fucking liberal. Fox News is a bunch of asshole, fucking dishonest jerks some of the time. I was like, yo, he just insulted Fox News and the Federal Reserve on the same day. It's our president. And so, like, the Federal Reserve is like the Iron Bank in Game of Thrones. I can take some giant colonies. Like, the Federal Reserve has their own military, Secret Service. Like, they're the Fed, and the Treasury has one too. And I was talking about, like, whatever your view is, the Fed, especially in the last 20, 40 years, like, they've kept it, they've still kept civilization fucking standing. Yes, I'm sure a lot of their employees got some extra benefits that normal people never got access to, but they've kept hyperinflation from collapse. Like, I don't know, it's a whole nother fucking basket of apples. And I have had discussions with people from the Treasury, and I'm pretty sure the Federal Reserve in person over that. So it seems like their main attitude is to keep it together. But I'm just saying, I don't know, like right now, during a pandemic, having him kick the fucking Fed in the balls, man. I don't, that's why it'll be cool to hang out with David Chappelle and Julia Casablancas. So I don't think Julian or Dave Chappelle would be like, hey man, just trust QAnon. Just trust that dude. They got it all down. They are on top of all this shit. They got it under control. They're kicking ass. I give them an A+++. That is not my feeling right now. And I'm worried about the president's health. But I don't want him to die. But I'm not going to vote for him. Oh yeah, so that gets back to... So I do that where I'm just, for the next 10 days, I'm just going to be watching the numbers. And I got a feeling they're going to be pretty fucking horrific. Although they may not be worst case scenario horrific, but... The country isn't agreeing on anything right now. And so it feels like there are like 40-30% of the people who are like, hey man, either way, even if we lose 1 million Americans to this fucking thing, so what? That's life. I can't get into that fucking theory, man, you know? But the powers that be on, it seems, every level all across the board, they've made so many questionable choices between the middle of January to now. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And so even with all the like presidential rally energy and all the protest energy, if all those people got together to be like, hey, right now, let us worry about feeding everybody because we've just had 40 million layoffs. Sax co Barothas. Keep it up. Thank you. And I got those that came in euro or lira. One of the two. Okay. I understand that everybody thinks everybody's bad. But it's like I was thinking when the Queen of England, I guess her birthday yesterday, and then it was the day before yesterday, and then it was Trump's birthday, and the Army's birthday. Anyway, but so the Queen is like, what, 93? I don't even know. But, like, during her rule, like, at least for the last 90 years, things have stayed together and continued to move forward, as crazy as shit has gotten, society continues to move forward, though slowly, sometimes taking steps backwards. So I don't know. Yeah, happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to our president. And and it goes back to the thing Dave Chappelle said. In a different sense, he said, pretty much anyone who survives all this is my hero. And that was about as Asteroid Fight Clubby. The fact that we've all been through, especially the post 2012 to now, has been pretty. It's been a wild ride, and I don't always know what's going on. We're hanging in there, and people said the end of the world was coming like 8 different times. And that hasn't happened. And I want to go to England someday. I want to go to France. I want to go everywhere. Someday. I definitely want to ride in a car, drive in a car all around America as soon as possible. Because every town has their different quality. Every town has its different stamp and total uniqueness. And every small town always knows when you're from out of town. And yes, I've always liked showing up in a town or city. I'd be like, well, at least since 2001, I'd start calling myself right around 99. That's when I started calling myself publicly Thor. Just showing up and being like, hey, they don't know me. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm Thor. How are you guys? So it's an adventure. And I don't mind going into hostile territory, but I don't like taking dumbass chances that have no reward. You know what I'm saying? In Canada, and I have heard from multiple sources that Brazilian women are the most beautiful women. Well, but that you haven't lived until you've walked around in Brazil, gone to drink beer in Brazil, gone dance at a club in Brazil. So there's so much shit I have on my list that I want to do when the good times return. That I am super geared to have a good time when we get past all the madness. Where we have to solve all the sins of our mothers and fathers and their mothers and their fathers and their mothers and fathers that begat all the generations. Think about it. The army has been together for 245 years. And that the army is a little bit of Air Force. They're a little bit of National Guard. They're a little bit of Navy. They're a little bit of Coast Guard. They're a little bit of Marines. The Army does a little bit of everything, but Army's job has always pretty much been to help stabilize society. And that most regions in the last 40 years have been in what are considered peace conditions. And so it's just the fact that you've had a team almost like Minutemen or the original Asteroid Fight Club is like Army. As an American, I look at it as like an American Army. Although the whole mythos of the James Bond, of the cool guys and the cool groups who are always working there to keep it together. And the armies in every nation, they're there to respond to natural disasters, and they're there to support everybody else. And so if you were going to have a mastermind that was evil, asterisk, that at the point we hit 100,000 American COVID deaths, they literally turned all the racial tensions that have been bottled up for 400 years against our police force. And yeah, there have been some horrible police officers throughout the history of mankind. And there are some horrible police officers now. But I still inherently think that the majority of the police have been there like the army to be like the sheriff and the deputies of each fucking town. And that we maintain the rule of law. Although there's like 800,000 laws in the books. Anywho. And so we've got a plague going on. And so all the doctors, the nurses, the EMTs, they're besieged. And then at that time, then you now pit millions of Americans versus our police officers as an outlet to their, that like, who do we blame for all the injustices of the last 400 years? Definitely the cops. It's kind of like nobody's saying that. I'm saying that's just a weird feel of the fact that that's how we collectively responded or were guided on a leash to act. So you've got half the country not even supporting the doctors and nurses and EMT people. And then now we have the court of opinion saying, hey, let's get rid of and defund the police when the government hasn't defunded anything in hundreds of years. But that in everything that is getting torn down, you have a chance to put something better in its place. So that each thing that is really scary also offers us all a chance and possibility to create something new. And it is amazing that so all these variables and instability things are happening all at once, but somehow we're still keeping it together. And if we do that and make good choices, we are going to have some cool ass parties and build some cool ass stuff in the future. You know, I was talking about Space Force shit. So now people are fighting wearing a mask. How are they going to feel 2 years from now when I'm like, all right, everybody's got to bake some cornbread this week? They'd be like, fuck no! You cannot tell me that I have to bake cornbread this week. I'm going to get my guns and I will protect my right not to bake bread. You know, I don't know. I just, like I said, it would be great to have some type of national food initiative to where we all become each other's cooks and chefs and it's a great way to learn to sit down at the table together. And at the end of the day, we should be having a 10-year contest on how to make a great plate of food. You know, when you get the one big section and then two little sections. And then so at the end of the day, everybody who is mentally and physically capable after a 4-year span should be pretty good at making some type of food. And if 6 months from now we got to fucking cut down on our beef intake until we get the plague solved, then everybody's not going to be freaking out because you're going to have to eat X amount of more peanuts and hummus. That you don't have to take everything as some weird ass thing as we change and adapt. But I don't know, that it seems like definitely a few steps above what we're at now, because we're still having to fight to convince people that everybody deserves to eat in 2020. When you got a plague breaking out and that just, it's best to just figure out a way to get people the basics, and I would say for the next 2 years, and this is across Earth. So we'll see how that goes. See, I don't even know. I wrote a song about Selena, or for Selena, but then I forgot it. Crap. And I gave lousy advice like, hey, go ahead and take your time. What kind of dumb shit was I thinking then? Also, you know, it seems like everyone in the military is taking it pretty damn seriously, so... Hey, though, when people use the term mainstream media, please understand that it's both sides are in the mainstream motherfucking media. And, like I said, even the truth community is like 95% all believes in the same fucking shit. And it seems like a lot of it's just conspiracy garbage that gets us nowhere. And so, yeah, they control the narrative, 100%. For now. But if that dam breaks and people are allowed to get along, then we can improve things super rapidly. But I think they definitely had script. That's why I keep saying, you don't have to agree with me, but it's been my stance that the plague caught them off guard. They had plans and the plague caught them off guard. And that no matter what, it seems like a lot of people can't have an imagination that says, all right, just for a moment, let me presuppose that there is a possibility that bad guys didn't put the virus out. And you can flip it to do it the other side, which I do and have done. We haven't ruled out everything, but I'm saying that imagine, if you hadn't before, imagine now, it caught them off guard. Like, George Soros didn't know it was coming. Like, Hillary Clinton didn't know it was coming. Trump said 1,000,000 times, who knew this shit could happen? Who knew? Oh my God. Plagues, crazy shit. He said, like, totally caught us off guard. Like, that just imagine that it caught him off guard. And that's where I have been. Like, yeah, dude, it caught everybody off guard except for, like, me and the Leo King. And I didn't know it was going to be a plague. I just knew that, like, everything was going to change. And I made videos about it saying, hey, guys, everything's... world is never... I think I made a video saying, hey, the world will look nothing like it did last year. And so that's... people should factor in a little more that, A, it's real, and that, no, it caught everybody off guard. And so... that's how they are acting and reacting right now and have been. And so there's a chart I've given you guys. It's like Martian money, and then old money, and then smart money, and then like dumb money. The other day, President Trump used the term, when he was talking about investing, the smart money people. And we're talking of trillions of dollars here. And so, yeah, dumb money's like, that shit's a fucking hoax. And I'm like, dude, if you looked at the economic data over the last 3 months, like, everybody's shaving off 20% GDP. Even, it's like when they talk about opening a stadium Like, how do you do that? Like, even if you're going to have social distancing, to sell tickets to 16 football games, you need to sell 100,000 seats, like $100 a head. And so by asking a stadium to reduce its capacity by even 50%, like, they're just a bunch of economic things that haven't been worked out publicly or admitted to publicly that's just not fucking sustainable. It's like everybody keeps talking about we're going to have a 10-game season of the NBA. It'll be like Arizona versus whatever teams want to show up in Florida. There will be no fans. Or there'll be like social distance fans in Florida. But the whole thing is that like all it's going to take is one of those players to get the coronavirus. And since we're not going to be doing any type of proper tracing and testing, then it's all shut down. And that every single one of those players probably has an 8-person entourage at minimum. And a lot of those people have families and kids. So they're just weird hoops that we're going to have to figure out over the next 6 months and year and a half that nobody's really talking about honestly. Nobody on a political level. You know, corporations aren't tipping their hand. Like, on some level, they have to say, economic times are going to be tough, but we're going to bounce back better than ever. That's pretty much like their script that they have to come say to you every single day. It's like there were reports a week and a half ago that like over normal cruise bookings are up 600%. I was like, where? You know, they're like, how many cruises since that story have launched? Since none. And so you have all the shareholders who are used to giving you business information, which is usually bullshit. They can't tell you the truth. But they're still trying to work out the problems because everyone that we're dealing with is a human being. Everyone is a man or a woman. We all take shits. We all fart. And I don't know. I would say we all have orgasms, but there's like 2% of people out there who can be like, I've never had an orgasm. I'll be like, all right, I can't relate. I've had a couple. They're pretty nice. They're likable. They're enjoyable moments. And I'm not trying to get creepy. You're saying the majority of human beings as adults can relate taking a shit, farting, and having orgasms. It's part of the experience. Crazy. And so one of the economic data points was that BP took a $19 billion loss for one quarter. The energy industry is down like 40 or 60%. Like just major. And there's another thing. That fucking bailout thing where they gave 2.5 trillion or whatever to the businesses, you can't look to see who got what money. They wheeled out like 3 different companies like Harvard, Shake Shack, and Applebee's. Give your fucking money back. But other than that, you hadn't heard shit. And so we don't know who got that $2.5 trillion. It wasn't me, and it probably wasn't you. So it seems like the last 3 or 4 months, the richest and most powerful people have been doing what they can to make sure that they will be, quote unquote, set to handle the next year and a half. And right now, nobody seems to have a real good, solid plan on what we should do other than me saying we should all work together. I'm not the first guy that ever said that. But I have been saying it to y'all every day for 7 years, pretty much. Not every day, but you know what I'm saying. It's been a consistent line of messaging of mine. Okay, another homework I'm going to give you. The Fire Festival. And I've mentioned this after I watched it. There are 2 different documentaries. Both are excellent. And it kind of gets into the Trump situation, to where he came on larger than life, handsome, blonde, and was like fast talker, made promises, and always said no matter what, everything's great. It was pretty much the Fire Festival. And then all the celebrities bought in, J. Rule, everybody was like, oh my God, they're gonna have this party and it's gonna be the greatest party. It's just gonna be super. And it totally sucked and it was a disaster. And that there were all these production steps along the way, the little things you gotta take care of, the porta potties, the pillows, the blankets, the cheese, the bread, the water, the drink, like nobody ever did any of the details. Everybody was busy partying and talking about how great it was going to be. And so that to me is a big part of what the last 3.5 years has been. That we've just heard a large group of people talk about how fucking great they were going to do. How the greatest president of all time was going to make everything greater than you'd ever known in your life. And so it's totally Fire Festival. And so yeah, we have multiple cities on fire, and yeah, there are agents and agent tours working. But if you're at a point where you're losing people in the hundreds of thousands, you got cities on fire, you're just arguing like. We need real leaders to stand up. And we got big plans if we're going to get out of this. And we are. But the guys who have 95% of the money, we're like 1,000 people, they hold a lot of power in their hands. Even if you take it down like the 5 or 10 guys that I named, that like Bill Gates, Tim Cook, Zuckerberg, Sergey Brin, Larry Page, even Elon, the Allison, even just they've got, not only do they have money, they have power, they have data, the data. And we are definitely going to need some of those people to be good guys, or my job is a lot harder. But creating and improving a new world together, a new system, allows us all to be heroes. And people are like, well, if you create a one world government, then it's evil. And I was like, all right, then just a one world family. Then we defeat the beast. Yes! And we all get to be one big kick-ass family. So that's what I want to do. And I think even all of these men that I've named, they all have families, friends, kids. And so it is in their benefit to improve and stabilize everything. So technically for 5 years, we've been in some really weird negotiation period between the 1,000 groups. I've talked about this many times. It's like in 2017 when Trump was talking about peace with North Korea, Russia, and the head dude from Saudi Arabia was like, yay, peace and new cities. And then everything went way off course. That now, in the middle of 2020, everybody's back at the table again. And everybody's sick of lockdown. But we got to play, we got to deal with. So we'll see the stock market, that if you're looking for an indicator how the stock, I've said the whole time it would be a W recovery. Down, then up, then down, and then over up. And so it looks like this V may be changing to the W, especially with all the planets retrograde, Mercury going invisible, soon to be going retrograde on the 7th. And we all know that the markets have just been going up since 2008. With minor areas of down. So there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of resources and money and a lot of people. And I'm here to work it all out. And I love you guys. I appreciate you. And you're the coolest. And y'all are the reason I do this. And that by having faith in y'all and believing in y'all, And it's totally worth it to be the guy that's been like, hey guys, let's just all work together. And, we know that we're going to have 1 billion unemployed people over the next 3 years. And so we can create a system to where we handle it. And we can reduce the war and the hate in giant ways. Yay. But yeah, you got to break the narrative that is telling people to divide and conquer all day, every day. It's like literally, if you watch iPad Goat, where it's like the kid and then there's the giant, like, it's always pumping, like, we just got to figure out to, let's say Mars has controlled our narrative. We just got to figure out how to get the Earth narrative back. Humans are the children of God. We are amazing. We can do amazing things together. But Mars is like, no. So I'm not looking to blow up Mars, but I want Earth to have its own narrative. Because Earth is cool, man. All right, God bless y'all. You guys are great. Nature is God. Nature is God living. So like birds are magic but real in every single way. And, part of the thing when you improve your planet, they're like, we can all help cleaning our oceans and our rivers and our lakes. That, if you have 1 billion people out of work, well, then it's a good time to clean the oceans and the rivers and the lakes. Needs to be done. Let's do it. And those people would really enjoy doing some work. It's like the CCC they did in after the plague in 1918. You would enjoy the work you were doing because you're cleaning the rivers and the lakes and you're improving all the areas around you. Planting a lot more trees, building gardens. Anyway, I love you guys. You guys are said, we're not more powerful than a fallen angel. That may be true, but Archangel Michael is a total badass. As far as I know, that for all the dark angels, for all the fallen angels, there are always light angels that can come and kick their ass. And that God above them and the power of the Christ Spirit. The cosmic Christ of the universe. I'm on that team. I don't fear demons and angels, man. I know they're there. But God is great. Think of all the things that are in this world that you do love, like sunsets, or even trees. Your mom, your dad, your friend. Like, God created all that, dude. So I ain't worried about the people who can either destroy it or steal from it or rape it like a city. Like, I ain't worried about, I know that they're out there, but the destroyers are not more powerful than the creators. We're talking the divine creator. The one that gave you life. The one that gave you the ability to laugh and love. So yeah, the fallen angels are jealous of the children, the good children of the creator. The ones who love life and are good at it. Are good at loving animals and people and being grateful. Yeah, I get that there are fallen angels that are jealous of the good creatures. So, hey, 2020, it's going to be an interesting. I love you guys. Stay cool.